Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning to those joining us online this morning from the Grand Hotel in Malahide, County Dublin, for our second session over this weekend, the 21st and 22nd of May 2022, on a Dublin's Citizens' Assembly. So once again, Céad Míle Fáilte. So once again, I am deeply honoured and privileged to be your chairman for this most significant gathering of free people of Dublin to over the weekend to discuss, to debate, and once again dream about the future of our great city and county of Dublin. I am on the Secretariat and the EAG, and we're all very honoured and proud that you can once again commit yourselves to public service by agreeing to take some of your time, your free time, to be with us here today and tomorrow to take part in this Citizens' Assembly. And I am most grateful that you've made time in your busy lives to commit to and serve a higher purpose than yourselves, and what greater service than our great city and county of Dublin. I would like to start off this weekend session to once again remind us of our purpose that has been defined by the House of Oireachtas in our terms of reference. And I do quote that a Citizens' Assembly to be known as the Dublin Citizens' Assembly with a total of 80 members, including an independent chairperson, 67 randomly selected members of the public living in Dublin City and County, and 12 councillors selected from across the 4 local authorities to consider the type of directly elected mayor and local government proposals in that regard. And those are really our guiding terms of reference. And if we do our work properly, by the end of this process, again, we should be in a position to build a consensus around those proposals, around those recommendations that we can issue to the Houses of Oireachtas in November. And again, while there may not be a unanimous agreement on the type of directly elected mayor and local government structures that are best suited for Dublin, all members should be able to agree that the debate was conducted in a respectful environment, and that each and every one of you were given the opportunity to voice your opinion, and that this process was scrupulously fair. And Dr. Jane Souter and her team is keeping a very close eye on us that is happening, and we do appreciate your engagement with the surveys. We got some very interesting feedback, and again, we'd like you to be as honest and as candid as you were the last time in terms of how we're running this particular process. I would now like to just speak about the plan of action, and it's some feedback that we got from you in those surveys, and indeed from the steering group. So I'm just going to show you how we're going to climb this Dublin mountain. So we started off with our session 1, and very broadly we spoke about in the 3 weeks ago about what was Dublin, its geography, its history. We spoke about local government in Dublin, and indeed the challenges that we would see as part of this process for a directly elected mayor, and indeed the local government, the local structures that need to support that. Today, we've got a really exciting programme. We're going to talk about how we do it, and we're going to bring in our 4 local Lord Mayors, and they're going to address the Assembly, and we'll get a chance to speak to them. We'll also invite people external to the state from Great Britain, from Manchester, from the US, Boston, and from France and Paris. And we're going to see how other people will do it. And then we're going to talk about tomorrow morning about possible options, which leads us then into our 3rd session with where we look at what should or how could it look like in terms of what a directly elected mayor would look like, those structures, and we'll discuss some potential models and powers and structures that the mayor might have. When we convene in September, and again that date of the 3rd or the 10th, it's one of those days, not both of them. We just need to confirm that date for you. But we're going to narrow down and debate the options and agree our ballot papers that we'll vote for on our 5th session, which will take place on the 1st of October, and that date is in the diary for Dublin Castle. So we'll vote and we'll agree and make the recommendations on the type of directly elected mayor. And following that meeting on October, the Secretariat, myself, will prepare the draft report that we'll issue to all the Assembly members. We'll give you a chance to review it, to respond to it, for us to consider those proposed changes if you have any. And then at the end of this process, when we climb the very apex of that mountain, we'll be able to issue the report and your recommendations and your proposals to our houses of the Oireachtas. So that's the plan of action at a very, very high level, just to give you the idea of our direction of travel. So for today, I just want to remind us of our guiding principles and our values. And if you want to know what a person's values are, well, just look at what they do every day. So if we want to know what our values are, we want to live these today and tomorrow in the Assembly. And the first one is openness. I'm just going to go through our principles once again for a few moments. So the Citizens' Assembly will operate with complete transparency, with all plenary meetings being streamlined live on the citizensassembly.ie website, and all documentation, including submissions, will be freely available on the website. Fairness is the second guiding principle. So we need to ensure that we allow the full spectrum of views to be heard on every issue from all of you, including people looking in this morning. Our briefing material, we hope, is of the highest quality. And our presentations, and we've got 2 excellent speakers this morning who I'll introduce in a few moments. They'll be factual, they'll be informative, they'll be impartial, and again, those presentations will be accessible to you. The third of guiding principles is equality of voice amongst all Assembly members. So each member will have the opportunity to voice their opinions and to allow other members to voice theirs, which is crucial, with no one dominating the discussion. So I do appreciate and I really value people contributing to the discussions. But I do want to encourage some new voices today. We had some great debate our last session over those 2 days. So I really want to create an environment where people feel safe to put your hand up and to advocate your position. And that's what we want to do here today. So if I've heard from you a few times, just bear with me as I try and create a safe space for other contributions in the room. So please, if you have anything to say, please step into that space. Respect is our next guiding principle. So each member will respect each other's opinions by ensuring that everyone can make contributions and express their views freely and without fear of personal attack or criticisms. One of our core values. Efficiency. The Convention will make best use of our limited time together and ensure that members are supported to the greatest extent possible, including their preparation for meetings, and all meetings will start and end on time. So you'll see that with the start time. If I don't happen to be here, Art will step in. If Art isn't there, somebody else will step in to make sure that we manage your time and respectful of your time. So we'll always start and finish on time. The next one, our value, is collegiality. So we recognise that we are a diverse group, and that really is our strength. We will work together in a spirit of friendship together as we embark this important task for the City and County of Dublin. And the final one, which we introduced, which we introduced 3 weeks ago, was the value and founding principle of psychological safety. So this, again, to remind ourselves, is a basic human need, and it's a shared belief that the team and the Citizens' Assemblies is a safe space. And when we have a safe space, it's easier for us to engage, for us to speak up and share ideas. And a safe space welcomes diversity, and it allows you, as our Assembly, to flourish regardless of your gender, your colour, your race, your background, or your political preference. So those are our guiding principles. So before we start into a really exciting programme, I can't wait for this one this morning. We've got some great topics, great speakers, and great presentations and great people to interview. I would like to remind us why we're all here. And I'm going to invite on the stage a poet who's well known in the Dublin art scene, Cummins. and John is going to recite a poem that really reminds us why we're all taking time out of our busy lives to be here. So please welcome on stage poet John Cummins.
Good morning. Born of a Cabra father and a Mary's Mansion's mother. I'm a Ballymun baby, Eamon Kent Tower, but it was in Darndale where my roots took flower. In Tulip, Marigold Court, Primrose, Buttercup, Snowdrop Walk. Back in my day it was Dublin Cuig. The gaffs faced round the other way when I was grown to Gruig. Bounced the ball in the square, fled the legger down the lane. So the archers were there to protect you from the pounding rain. Borrowed Bonya from a neighbour, sourced the sweets from the van. Then a bit of brown and a looser, thinking me a big man. Someone from the Dale of the Darn is gonna spin a yarn, more significant than Animal Farm. Someone from the view of the moat is gonna nail a note, pin it on a cynic like an antidote dope quote. Someone from the camp of the bell is gonna outcast a spell, when a wizard, what a witch, a rhyme chiming and prob a bell. Meanwhile, there's more of the Eden, hairline receding, though barely teething, stood scarcely believing that all of them other places full of the concrete scheming, be also indulging earnestly in that escapist dreaming. And we all share so much similar breeding, and stroll and stomp and duck dive and weave, and geographically, affably I have walked these zones, occasionally acoustically accompanied by the headphones, and I've witnessed quite identifiably identical homes, and sometimes I've listened to sensible songs and passionate poems. You see, this is where I'm from, my roots, my ground. This be where me be born, and me third eye feels bound to the concrete of any corner gaff. I'm sound with the coastline, even if it's in a photoshopped photograph, and I'm linked to the famine, parted the boom, tasted the salmon, excuse me, and I've prayed to the moon. And I'm tied to the chestnuts, the sycamore tree, tied to the state and its scaremongery. Oh, this is where I'm from, my stem, my sky, my once upon amen, my reason why I feel bound to the begging of any street urchin. Sound slow snogging at the hippie hop lurchin. Linked to the Viking, part of the rising, tasted the biting, sampled downsizing. I'm tied to the ink in the proclamation, tied to the Emmy and the migration, tied to the core of a civil rights struggle, tied to the core of a Moore Street haggle. It is my street, it's your street, not a high street, Moore Street. It's a fruit and veg, fish and flower street. Moore Street is our street. This is where I'm from, my soil, my space, my sky, my stem, my time, my place. I'm bound to the bog, bound to the brick. Sound is a pound when I'm taking the mick, and I'm linked to the Brits, and I'm part of the Gaeltacht, tasted the myths, learned the Mocha-Neeloch. Tied to the source of a Shanachie story, tied to its roots, to its source, to its cormy. Oh, Ireland, Eire, emerald oil. It lived itself large, now recharged that mobile. If only we'd have kept it tighter for a wee while, we wouldn't have so many of our young folk in X. I'll Shangri-La when I go home, with the pen and pad composing Om. Rock the metaphor, ring the silly bell, up home, my true love, fare thee well. Mount you come in form or flow, find your feet stroll soft and slow. Know that you will never die, so pass our boy, please cast cold. I am a native of Dublin, on a crusty slice of Brennan's born and bred. I've outgrown the north and south divide, long conquered that nut out of this simple head. An introspective lens, the lad with much affection for the Munster. I'd cuddle any coddle from Connacht and kiss the love of any colour from Ulster. An ordinary Irishman, quite content to cross the water. From Coolock I've travelled Europock, crisscross lots of border, and I feel blessed, for on my adventure I've met many, many good folk. People sound enough to laugh even though it wasn't such a good joke. People who treated me respectfully made me want to be a good bloke, and I reciprocated because nice people make good folk. Be Jesus, kindness begetifies common decency. Compassion is truly best friends with the empathy, and OMG, tolerance isn't overly demanding, and peace actually loves understanding, not war, not hate, not ignorance. One life, one spin, one dance, perchance I learn what you teach. You are the shore on my beach, I'm the stone in your peach, and You reach and teach where I reach and teach, because everyone is a soul role model. We're hard to lend life, love, a lottle. Courage to protect each other from the blows. Strength to lift each other up out of the lows. We all be naturally born superheroes. Each to mind each, I suppose. Best of luck with your listening, talking and thinking today, folks.
Thanks, John. Thank you so much. Please give it again for John Morrison. Thank you. Thanks, John. John Cummins again. Thank you so much. That was really inspirational, but really kind of ground us, I think, to our sense of purpose and why we're here this weekend and why you're all giving your time to this incredible assembly.